When you were younger and you lost a tooth, did you keep it? If you were to lose a finger, would you keep that? Let's say you had an entire arm amputated. Would you put that on your bookshelf? Well, today we're going to discuss, does your body belong to you? Do you own your body? What are you allowed to keep from your body if you have a surgery? Or what are you allowed to keep from a relative? Are you able to own human body parts? Let's get into it. I'm pretty curious.
Michael, have you held on to any body parts? You know, children's teeth, for example, would be the normal one.
My daughter hasn't lost teeth yet, but my mother still has all of my baby teeth.
I never kept any of my teeth. I always thought it was like a little weird. It is yours, so I mean, I feel like you're completely entitled to it, but I don't really want to hold on to like body parts. It just feels gross.
In a little container in her cabinet, in her kitchen.
I'm somewhere between adorable and creepy.
I know, right? But it's not creepy.
I have kept all of my daughter's teeth, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure which one's which.
Oh, because you've got multiple
daughters.
Well, don't you have separate containers for them?
I probably should have done that,
Because my mom has kept mine and my sister's teeth like labeled.
Oh, that's...
Now, I only have one child, so when I look and I find an old dried up piece of umbilical cord, I know that it's hers. But I've kept that. I've kept cuttings from my...
Umbilical cord, that's where it starts to get weird. Like teeth is like, I kind of get it, I understand, but umbilical cord, anything to do with flesh, that is just a little bit too weird for me. It's like, why are you keeping that?
My daughter's first haircut. Oh, you know what? This isn't a body part, but I kept a bandage from my cat because when I took the bandage off, the blood stain on it was a perfect heart shape.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
I mean, perfect.
That's
like
kind of
uncanny. Cute. I'll have to show you a photo later. If I can find one, we'll put it in the episode. I was just using some industry terms.
Wait, but how often do you think, man, I'm going to go look at this body part. I'm going to go look at these teeth. I'm going to go look at this umbilical cord because I feel sentimental in this moment. How often do you actually use that for nostalgia's sake?
Oh, and of course, my bag of beard hair.
Wait, tell me that you did not bring your bag of beard hair with you.
I didn't bring my bag of beard hair, but I once shaved my beard off for charity. And there was way more beard hair than like we could in good conscience give a person. But I kept the rest of it because I'm like, my beard won't be this color forever. It's turning gray. So I should keep some samples from before it turned gray. And I've just got a little Ziploc bag of it pinned onto my pegboard as like a memory.
Okay. I mean, if you think that's getting towards creepy, you're not alone. But also, just you wait until what we've got lined up in this episode.
I got like an arm amputated. Mm-hmm. What happens to the arm?
So I think that's
the question.
It's kind of up to you. So you can just leave it at the hospital. They can incinerate it, you know, with all of the other things that they cut off and out of people. A lot of medical tissue does end up going down that route.
Yeah.
But you can, if you want to, you can ask for it.
Hey, wait. So how do they present it to you? Do they like clean it up first if they're giving it to you? Or do they just hack it off and say like, oh, you asked for this, here's your bloody arm? Because I would hope that if I were to ask for an arm, which I never would, I would hope that they would like taxidermy it in some way or something like that, preserve it in some way to where it's clean to take home. Because you know it's obviously going to start rotting. It's flesh, it's meat. How do they present it to you?
This, by the way, in the UK is regulated by the Human Tissue Authority.
Okay, I think the US has something very similar.
Yeah, absolutely. And they say you are legally free to do anything with an amputated limb, provided it isn't a public health risk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. I couldn't keep my amputated arm in order to freak out my neighbor or let it sit there and decay and mold and then spread disease.
Yeah.
But could I have someone taxidermy it?
You could have somebody taxidermy.
Okay, there we go.
You can, you can go more imaginative than this, by the way. You can accelerate the process of removing the tissue from the bones, and then you can do whatever you want with it, including scaring your neighbors. So there's
right. Okay, so as long as it's just like a dry bone that isn't a health risk, even if it's a mental health risk, because if I opened my door and my neighbor's bones were on my front porch, I might be like, yum.
Or you might find it quite funny.
That just feels so wrong, though, to have like a part of your skeleton on hand, to have it handy. Why do you need your skeleton? Why are you keeping that? Why are you taking it home? I guess you can become very attached to your limbs, and if you know you're getting it cut off, you're going to miss it somehow. So I don't know what it's like to lose a limb. I'd imagine I would miss having that limb, but I don't think I'd miss having it physically in the sense that it's not attached to my body. I don't just want it there, I want it attached to me. I think that's what I would miss more.
The way that
There's got to be like
intended it.
some public decency laws around this.
I'm not sure there are, because, okay, so there's one amazing story that I found. This is Christy Loyal from Oklahoma. So she had cancer, this really rare type of, it's called epithelioid sarcoma, and it's this soft tissue cancer. So she had to have her leg amputated. This is in 2011. And so what she did, she took her amputated leg, the sort of foot and like the just above the ankle, and she took it to a company called Skulls Unlimited, right? Wonder if you can guess what they do. They use flesh-eating beetles to strip it down to the bone.
So she fed some beetles.
She fed some beetles. And then she's got this like fully articulated skeleton foot that was part of her body. And she posts pictures of it to Instagram. And they are amazing, these pictures. And they're very, very funny.
Wait, before we see these photos, like, is it not easier and quicker to use acid or something like that to strip away the flesh from the bone? Are beetles really the most inexpensive, cleanest way to do that?
Show you a
Yeah,
couple of-
please.
Okay, so
Does she pose it?
she does pose
Like, here
it
it is kicking a soccer ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's a couple of them if you want to describe some of these.
So one is a photograph of, it looks like it's the bones of her foot on one side, and then next to it is a living.
That's
human
clean.
foot,
That doesn't even look
her
real.
remaining foot in a sock.
That doesn't even look real. That looks like something you'd see in a science class, which makes me think, did my teachers have a real skeleton in the classroom? No, obviously not. But that's crazy that your bones actually look that smooth. I would imagine they would be a lot more rough and a lot less plastic looking.
It's designed to look like the bones of the foot. Now here, so she's got her leg going down into sand.
That's pretty
Yeah,
funny.
she's lying on a beach.
She's lying on a beach, and her leg, like kind of below the knee, is under the sand, but then poking up a little further on are the bones of her foot,
Where they ordinarily would have
where
been.
they ordinarily would be.
That's very hard to picture those bones inside. Like if you were to look, I'm looking at my foot right now, and I'm barefoot right now. Not to get you guys interested, but I'm looking at my foot right now, and it's hard to imagine that shape of the foot, of the bones inside my toes right now. It just doesn't seem like that's inside of me.
Here is her foot and ankle skeleton inside a transparent shoe.
That's
So
pretty
you can
cool.
look through the shoe material and see that there's bones inside. It's amazing how different it is psychologically to see a like plastic foot skeleton versus a real one.
knowing that it really came from a person.
Because I don't know what my bones look like. I've never seen them, but they're in there.
They are.
And they've been me. Of course, they've changed over time, but they've been with me forever. Like I owe so much to them, and yet I wouldn't recognize them if I saw them on the street.
No. And this idea
That's
of the
weird to
psychology
think
of it, I
about.
think when it comes
When you look at somebody's face, like you can't really picture what their skull looks like. You feel like you have the general shape, but when you see a skeleton, it looks nothing like a person, really. Like it looks so far from what we recognize when we look at somebody.
to people who go through amputations, amputation can really trigger this profound sense of grief in people. It's a trauma that's
Couldn't
sort of
imagine.
comparable to the bereavement of a loved one,
Right.
in a lot of ways. And there are some studies that say if you have control over over what happens to your limb, then actually it's much easier to have this sort of positive experience. I mean, you're never really going to have that much of a positive experience if you're going through an amputation, but it helps you kind of grieve the passing of your limb.
Oh, for sure. I can totally see that. I can see how some people might grieve better if they just never see it again.
Yeah.
But if someone wants to have a funeral for their amputated hand, let them, right?
Yeah. And if you don't want to have a funeral where you are burying it in your garden, or having a bonfire or whatever it might be, if there's something a bit grotesque about you burning your own limb, there is now a dedicated burial site for amputated limbs in the UK.
Oh, really?
Whoa.
Yeah, where you can go and you can basically have a funeral exactly as you described for the part of you that
That
once
seems
was.
nice. Like, I might actually do something like that because I think if I had, say, my arm amputated, I'd really want to show it respect.
Okay, yeah. So actually, it is a great fear of mine, losing an appendage, losing a finger, or an arm, or a leg, something that's a part of me. Like a while ago, maybe 4 years ago, I cut off the tip of my thumb, and it's like, it's hard to even tell now which one it is, but it's this one, and like you really can't tell at all. Like it looks pretty much the same, but at the time there was definitely like a big chunk missing from it, and the tip is still it feels kind of tingly, it feels kind of weird, and I was somewhat, I wouldn't say devastated, but it was very kind of disturbing to me knowing that the tip of my thumb was now missing forever. And even though it looks pretty much the same, I know that it doesn't feel quite the same as it used to. It feels a little bit off, and that does bother me the more I think about it. Extrapolating that to having an entire limb cut off, I couldn't imagine how much that would disturb you to your core, to know that you'll never be the same again, that like how hard it would be to come to terms with missing something that has been with you your entire life. It is in some ways a death of part of you, or even a death of the old you that had that arm. And you are like the same person, but you're definitely a little bit changed.
It was my arm. It did a good job, It didn't do anything bad against me. It let me control it forever. Like,
Yeah. I have a very good friend who is Islamic, and she told me that there's this idea where when you die, all of your body parts testify against you, right? And okay, but that sounds a bit.
What you mean is, like, if I've committed a sin with my hand, it will rat me out.
Or it's more like, so my understanding of it, okay, is that when you're walking around in life and you say, oh, my damn knees, they're really annoying, they're just not strong enough, I hate them, whatever. And then after you die, your knees are there testifying against you and saying, look at all of those stairs I carried her up. Look at her baby who I helped her carry for 9 months. And then all the times she sort of carried her child and I was there supporting her. And then she spent the rest of her life slagging me off, like this is really unfair.
Right.
But there's something actually quite beautiful about that, this idea that you have to have genuine gratitude for all of your body parts, for the support that they give you while you're alive, because after you're dead they'll
testify against you if you were not a good steward of them.
That really hits home, because I had injured my hamstrings. I had tears in both of my hamstrings from running track and field in high school, and it's really changed the way I'm able to run now. I have to be very mindful, warm up extra well. If I even think about going at a high speed, if I'm playing basketball or something, and I'm trying to get back into playing soccer again. And this is something that I constantly think about when I play sports, is like, those two bad hamstrings are going to be with me for the rest of my life. Pre-injury, I would just go all out. I would warm up, but I wouldn't even pay attention to it that much, if it makes sense. I wouldn't warm up that well. I would just kind of go through the motions, and I wouldn't really treat my body the way I should have to prevent an injury, because I was just thinking like, oh, if I abuse my body, I'm young, it'll just recover no matter what. I don't have to worry about it. If I get injured, it'll recover and I'll be back to normal in a few weeks. But no, like, some injuries actually change how you are able to move for the rest of your life. And that's something I really don't take for granted now. I really try to warm up as much as possible now, and I try to take care of my body as much as possible by doing certain exercises to prevent injuries. Because if you don't respect your body, you will kind of be abandoned by your body, because it won't function the same way anymore, and you don't realize how much it means to you until something happens that you can't really take back.
have to say, I'm not a scholar of of Islam. So people, please let us know in the comments if I have misunderstood that.
Right.
But I think there's something quite beautiful about that.
It really is beautiful. So, what restrictions are there? You said in the UK you can have your own amputated parts so long as there's no public health risk.
I mean, kind of. You can't cremate it. That is one thing you can't do.
Wait, tell me more.
You can't. So you can put it in
Why?
a bonfire in your own garden.
Yeah.
Oh,
As long
okay.
as it's not a public health risk, as long as you do it safely. But you can't take it to a cremation site. You can't take it to a company that does cremation for you and ask them to do it. And that's because of the rules within the sort of cremation industry. You can't legally have it cremated at a crematorium while you're still alive. And that is because crematoriums, this feels like a good rule, legally require a death certificate in order to operate.
That makes sense.
So, if you're still there handing over your limb, they're not allowed to do it.
Yeah, I get why they would need a death certificate, because otherwise it could be a really great hack to get rid of a body that you've murdered. Like, oh, hey, here's my Aunt Flo. Could you please
Oh, that's true.
dispose of the evidence? I mean, cremate her respectfully?
It's like you come back week after week. You're like, oh, here's an arm, here's a leg, here's a torso. This is all from the same person. And they're going to start asking questions like, okay, wait. Why are you coming back multiple times? We might have to ask a few more questions and get the cops involved because this is not normal.
Certainly, that law could probably be changed to also require a certificate of amputation or something.
Or maybe the authority of the individual to whom it once belonged.
Yeah,
perhaps.
yeah.
But I mean, apart from that, really, you can sort of go wild. You can sell it if you want to.
Okay, that's where I wanted to go next because that woman's foot looks really cool.
Yeah,
The
it's
skeleton
Sell it?
of her foot bones and ankle.
Who wants unless you're like a medical institution, why are you buying body parts? It's got to be only medical institutions that are buying these body parts, right? Because like if you're selling it, there's no way some like private guy, and I'm sure there's some weirdos out there, but that is exactly what they are. Like that is taking it way too far to buy somebody else's body part. And like I wouldn't want to own somebody else's skull or something like that. That's so morbid.
She sell that to me.
Yes, absolutely. And you can buy, so I had a look at this yesterday, you can buy all kinds of body parts, but particularly the bones, basically as easily as buying a book.
Now,
right?
hold on a second, because I've looked into this. I've been wanting a human skeleton my whole life.
A whole skeleton.
A whole, real human skeleton.
Oh my God,
Here's
Michael.
the problem. The ethics of it. Most human skeletons that are available for purchase are of dubious provenance.
Absolutely.
They're usually like, yeah, this is from a person who lived in India in 1897. Probably didn't totally consent to this. It probably wasn't their dream for you to display their skeleton, but it's here. And we can no longer just do what people did in the 19th century.
Yeah, a lot of people's bodies were just treated as if they weren't even a living person before. Like, especially a lot of minorities in the U.S. were used as medical subjects, medical test subjects without their consent, without their knowledge, without their family's knowledge, just because it was easy and nobody was going to get in trouble for using those bodies, using those corpses, because nobody really cared about the minorities who owned the body.
Here's what I want to do, and you can tell me if this is going to be more possible. I would love a human skeleton, but I want it to be Jeff Bezos' skeleton. Specifically his.
Have you written to him and told him this is your plan?
No, but let's say that this is my official declaration to Jeff Bezos. Give me your skeleton. And here's why him. Or maybe someone like him. It needs to be someone who isn't super sympathetic. So that if someone comes into my house and they see a human skeleton and I've got a silly hat on it, and they're like, dude, that's disrespectful, I can say, it was Jeff Bezos. Like, he had a bunch of money in life. He's fine. Like,
He can deal with a hat.
I don't want the skeleton to belong to like an innocent person who, even if they fully consented to like, I want you to exhibit my skeleton forever, I still would feel like it deserved a certain amount of respect that I might not always want to give it. So I want someone's skeleton that could be put into funny poses.
What if it was someone who just had a really...
I think it'd have to be somebody worse than Jeff Bezos. I mean, I think it would have to be like Hitler or something. But even that, it would feel way worse to have that. Like, I don't even believe in this, but just the energy of like having an evil person's skeleton in your house just feels like it's gonna hurt you. Like you're gonna subconsciously feel depressed or something, or feel like off for just having that in your house, having access to that. That's a weird connection to have to somebody evil.
Like, what if you went for a famous comedian?
Well, yes. Okay, here's an even better example. Like, I would be totally happy to give my wife or my daughter my skeleton after my death, and they can do whatever they want with it. They can make me pick my butt. They can make me do whatever, because that's my sense of humor, right? In fact, here's another declaration. And my wife refuses to do this, but instead of a grave stone, I want a toilet that is like a bench, but it's a toilet that has like in memory of Michael Stevens, and people can sit on it and look at the view. But she doesn't want a toilet to be my tombstone.
That's the thing, is I think the body is more so for the people who survive, for like the family who's living. Like the disrespectful part is more so affecting the people who loved that person rather than the person themselves, because they're gone. They're not going to be able to think about it, even though you shouldn't disrespect a body just out of principle. The people that you're disrespecting are the people who are still alive. Those are the people who are going to be affected by it the most.
Why do you want a toilet to be your tombstone?
Because it's just funny. It's just a bit.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just like hey, why is there a toilet in this cemetery? Now, maybe that's disrespectful to the other people buried there.
Because suddenly you turn the cemetery into a bathroom.
I turn it into a bathroom. So maybe it's more like a public park, puts up a memorial toilet for me.
I do like the idea of having a bit for after you die. You know, Spike Milligan, this very amazing British writer, comedy writer, on his tombstone, he insisted that it had inscribed, "I told you I was ill," which I really like.
Yeah, that's really good. And I like not taking it all too seriously. My idea for having a memorial toilet for myself comes from this artist's installation in the UK for a memorial to Joseph Grimaldi, the clown, where the artist put these like coffin-shaped musical tiles on the ground so you could dance on the grave of Grimaldi to make music.
That's pretty
and
cool.
being as he's a clown, and it all felt like it actually kind of all fit.
Yeah, I mean, I do think we could get a little bit more creative with tombstones and in death. I think we do tend to focus on the sadness in death and not as much the celebration of death in at least American culture. In a lot of Western cultures, we don't focus enough on the opportunity for creating something positive. Oops, sorry, it's 4th of July. There's some fireworks. We need to focus more on the positives when people die, because it's going to make us feel better. We're the ones who have to carry the sadness. The living people are the ones who have to carry the sadness. So we should make it something positive around it as much as possible. And of course you want to mourn, but you don't want to mourn forever. And the person who dies wouldn't want you to mourn forever. They would want you to be happy. So we need to find ways in our culture to try to spin death into something a little bit more manageable and a little bit more positive.
It feels a bit disrespectful to be dancing on a grave. Now, he isn't actually buried underneath them, but I liked a silly oddball memorial.
There is somebody who has donated their skeleton to be displayed forever, though.
Who?
Jeremy Bentham.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Right. So
I've never seen it.
Of course, Jeremy Bentham.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
And is it a skeleton, or is there still like dried flesh on it?
Oh, there's dried. Well, okay. So there's a couple of different parts. Bit gruesome. So we should just say Jeremy Bentham's he's the father of utilitarianism, this philosopher. But he also was one of the founders of the university which I did my PhD in. Was a professor for a number of years. This is like 1830s was when he died, and he wanted to donate his body to science. He was like, I think that actually a great act would be to have a public dissection of my body, let people see, and I want it to be on display. I want my body to be on display. So they did the dissection.
No, was this for like the public's knowledge, or was it that he found it kind of tittillating, like it was an exhibitionist thing.
I think it was for public knowledge.
Okay. I guess we can't prove what was really in his mind.
Well,
but
what happened to his head is a bit more gruesome.
yeah, I've heard it got like turned into a soccer ball or something.
Yeah, it's pretty gruesome. So one
that's
of
awful.
they decided the flesh on his body was dissected, and his skeleton has been packed into a suit, sort of like, it looks like a waxwork figure, like a Madame Tussauds type thing. So he's kind of like sitting there in this pose, and he's got all his clothes on. It's on display permanently.
But can you see the bones, or are they covered in
No, they're
wax?
covered. They're covered in wax.
Ah.
He sits in this glass cabinet in the cloisters of UCL permanently. So you can just go past and just see his dead body at all times. But his head, what they wanted to do, there was this technique that people were trying, which was to dehydrate the head, sort of like a mummification technique. And so his head, I think it didn't really work very well. I think they didn't get the mixture right. So it's sort of this like grotesque leathery raisin, right? It's really not very nice at all. So that's kept separate from the body. You kind of, so
so it's stored to be seen with no head.
No, it's got a wax head on it.
Oh,
You know, that is so interesting that humans want to preserve bodies so badly, like to prevent the decay, like with mummies in ancient Egypt. And we just have a long history of wanting to preserve. We are attached so much to like the physical aspects of us that remain even after we're gone, even after the connection to the person who inhabited that body is completely untethered. It's just fascinating that we feel a need to preserve a dead corpse.
and there's no skull inside the wax
No skull
head
inside the wax
because
head, yeah.
the head is kept, the real skull
Separate.
is kept separate.
It's still, I think, is on display. I've certainly seen it, so I think it's on display sometimes, but
Okay.
not all of the time.
Well, I want to be cremated when I die, because it's just like, it's quick. You go from, you know, the best version of yourself, the version that you look like when you die, the most preserved state you are in before decay, to absolutely nothing. You skip all the ugly like decay and stuff, even though nobody sees it underground. Like, it's just that symbolism of like, you'll never be in that state of decay. I'm not that anybody should feel weird about that. It's completely natural, but like psychologically, I think it's a lot easier to process complete separation, that complete obliteration of the person, rather than the slow decay of that person's physical form.
The thing is, that head, right, is obviously this great object of reverence and importance to UCL. And so there have been times when the rivals of UCL, King's College London, have broken in, stolen it, used it for ransom. There was one story about them in the cloisters of using it as a football. Just like really not cool Victorian shenanigans going on here.
Yeah.
But I should also say that his body, while it is on display, he also still attends the meetings that they have.
Oh,
like
cute.
the kind of big important meetings.
Right, they bring his bones
wheel him
in.
bring
Yeah.
his bones in, and then they always record in the minutes that Jeremy Bentham was present but did not vote.
I love that.
Kind of
That is so weird. Yeah, I mean, that is so bizarre. I mean, it's kind of funny, but it's bizarre to me. But I guess, I mean, there's nothing like inherently wrong with doing something with the body of a dead person, if it doesn't harm anybody, and if that's what they wish for. Like, there's nothing inherently wrong about that. It just feels wrong. Yeah, it's interesting to think about. Like you own your body while you're alive. You have rights to your body, but you don't have unlimited rights. Like, there are some laws against what you can, against doing certain things with your body, with your own body, which is kind of bizarre to think about. But yeah, that was really interesting. Would you keep your amputated arm? Let me know down in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you like this video, and I will catch you guys on the next one.